Good afternoon, Ncnw sisters. We would like to welcome you to our membership development workshop or our discussion on membership development. And we are so pleased that you all joined us this afternoon. And we certainly hope that you are enjoying this awesome virtual convention or conference or whatever you want to call it that we are having. And I certainly hope that when you leave the conference, that you will have things that you can carry back to your individual sections that you will be able to use. And if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out to myself, Lois Keith, or my co-chair, Diane Larche. And of course, if you can't reach us individually, you feel free to get in touch with someone at the headquarters and they will make certain that they direct your concerns to either of us. Again, welcome. Okay, next slide, please. The next slides that you will see will be just a little information about the three of us. And I am currently a national vice president, and I'm also a co-chair of membership, as you see on the screen. And as I stated earlier in the other workshop actually the BHRP, I'm the national vice president for just a few more hours. So I'm going to really stretch this time and enjoy it. But as you see, I'm a retired educator and I'm a member of the DeKalb section of Ncnw. And I have been with the National Council of Negro Women for many years. Next slide, please. The next slide is my co-chair of membership, Ms. Diane Larche. And Diane and I have had a wonderful time working together as co-chairs of membership. It's a passion that both of us, we possess. We are interested in membership and of course, increasing membership in the National Council of Negro Women. Diane Larche, as you see on the screen, is the chartered president of the Greater Atlanta Ncnw that was chartered in 2016. And of course, when they chartered with 210 members. And she currently serves on the executive board of the Ncnw and is doing a fantastic job. And she was just recently elected to be on the member at large. And I want to congratulate my co-chair.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. Okay, and we were supposed to have had on the original one, we had another one, and somehow it is not there. But I will talk about Miss Sharah Denton, who you will be hearing from in a little bit. But Sharah Denton is the chartering president of the Valdosta section of the National Council of Negro Women. And many years ago, I had the awesome opportunity to go down to Valdosta and actually install that particular section. So that section is very dear to me. I also call it one of our premier sections because they do such wonderful things down in Valdosta. And if you don't know where Valdosta is, it's in the southernmost tip of, I would say the southernmost tip of the state of Georgia. Sharah also serves as the state of Georgia president, as well as the outgoing third vice president or young adult vice president for the National Council of Negro Women. And in all of her roles, she has done a super job, one that I refer to as my little sister. All right, then looking at the screen that we have now, what is the National Council of Negro Women? What is the National Council of Negro Women? And you know, you hear that all the time, especially when we are out and we have our t-shirts on and we have our different paraphernalias, and people want to know, well, what is the National Council of Negro Women? And what are you able to tell them about the National Council of Negro Women? First of all, we can always say that it is an organization of organizations. What does that mean? Organization of organizations. It means that in the National Council of Negro Women, which basically serves as an umbrella for 39 affiliate organizations that fall under the umbrella of the National Council of Negro Women. It is a powerful, powerful network of more than 2 million women and men across the breadth of the United States. And one thing that's unique about the National Council of Negro Women is that it's open to all persons without regard of race, without regard to gender, without regard to ethnicity or national origin. And in our section in DeKalb, we have men that are part of our organization. We have different ethnic groups that are part of the National Council of Negro Women. So in other words, when we go out to recruit, please, let's not just limit it to people that look just like us. It's open to everyone. And another thing about the National Council of Negro Women that I really, really like is that it's open to all women and men, regardless of socioeconomic status. And a lot of organizations, you have to be degreed or what have you to be a part of, but not with the National Council of Negro Women. And I also want to say that you know that this great organization that we have was founded in 1935. It modeled the mainstream National Council of Women that was going on during that particular time. And we know that this great organization of ours was founded in Harlem, New York. And during its inception, it had 29 groups that met, and they represented religious, political, professional, as well as sororities. And of course, and its main objective was to reach out to the scattered people of the African descent. So that's kind of it in a nutshell as what is the National Council of Negro Women. Okay, the next slide, please. The Ncnw organizational framework. What is the Ncnw mission? What is the purpose of the National Council of Negro Women? Its mission is to advocate and empower women of African descent, their families and communities. And I think you will see this most in our sections. Our sections are the one in a lot of cases that are in the trenches. We are doing the grassroots work in helping African American women and their families. We're making certain that they have the clothing they need. If children need scholarships, we are making certain that if we can provide small scholarships or monetary contributions, and any way we possibly can. That is the mission of Ncnw, is to lead. We are leaders to advocate, and we don't want to just leave our African American women behind, but we want to empower them. And then what about the goals of the Ncnw? The goals of the Ncnw is to unite non-for-profit national organization of women in a council of national organization. And we are concerned about the welfare of African American women, about we want to make certain that we help pull those women up. And we want to promote unity among women national organizations. And in other words, when we meet, when we collaborate, we want to work in harmony with each other and to help unify national women organization. And we want to build a common fellowship of women devoted to the task of fostering social and economic justice. And especially during the time that we live now, this is something that we are concerned about. And of course, we serve as a clearinghouse, and with modern technology and what have you, a lot of things are coming down the pipes that are happening within the United States or happening in Washington. We are able to get that information directly through social media. So we are serving as a clearinghouse for that. Okay, next, please. And I'm going to stop right here. My co-chairs, Sharah or Diane, do you all want to add anything to what I've said with those particular categories? All right, the next thing would be the bylaws. You all can stay unmuted. So if anything that I'm missing that you all want to say, make certain that you all just kind of jumping in, okay? Then the bylaws. The NCNW is governed according to its bylaws, which may be found at www.ncnw.org. Now, if you are a member of a section, I will certainly hope that you don't just operate your sections without knowing what's in the bylaws of NCNW. A lot of things we think might be in those bylaws may not be there. So it's very, very, very important that you read those bylaws. And of course, you can download those bylaws if you don't have them. Take a look at the bylaws. And of course, at every one of our conferences or conventions, if there's something in the bylaws that need to be changed or what have you, we have an opportunity to amend or adopt additions to our bylaws. Okay. Did anyone else have something to say on the bylaws?
Ms. Key?
Yes.
Dr. Key, I'd like to add too, for collegiate sections, they have a template that they can abide by from the national headquarters so that they're in alignment with the bylaws on their campus.
Okay, all right, very good, very good, very good. And then, yes?
Lois, I just wanted to mention too, in addition, the handbook. We have the handbook that's on the website along with the bylaws, which is sort of our Bible. That's where you'll find a lot of information of how we operate. So everyone should become familiar with not only the bylaws, but the handbook as well.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. And of course, here again, if you don't have that information, please make certain that we go to www.ncnw.org. Okay, and I saw a question that just popped up, and I think Sharah answered that particular question for that particular person. And if you have questions or that we can help you with, by all means, put it in the chat so that we can see it. And then, of course, as you know, this is a membership organization. Without you, without recruiting members, without getting new members, there would be no NCNW. There would be no NCNW. The value of NCNW is this combined strength of its members, and not only just the members of NCNW, but the members of our affiliate organizations as well. It communication of ideas, and it works with women of diverse interests and backgrounds. There is a place in NCNW for anyone. Anyone. And it's so much going on with NCNW. I look at the work that Dr. Cole is doing and creating so many different committees and what have you. There is a place in NCNW for everyone, if not on the national level, for sure in your individual section. There is a question, is the bylaws for the youth group ages 12 to 18 the same as the collegiate group?
No, ma'am, that would go under the community section where the umbrella of the umbrella of the community section where the youth group is formed from, my understanding.
But actually the youth don't need bylaws. Youth groups don't require bylaws.
Absolutely. Okay. And of course, we can't have a youth group without having an adult, a regular section, and they fall under the umbrella of that. Okay. All right. Next screen, please. Okay. NCNW at the state and local level. All right. What is the purpose of NCNW community-based sections? The community-based sections in my opinion, are the trench workers. We're the ones that get our hands dirty. We are, in a lot of cases, the backbone of the organization. It needs, I mean, it impacts community nationwide, and you would be amazed at the many things that goes on in the community-based sections. When I had an opportunity to travel the country and looking at all of the service projects that our Ncnw sisters are involved with and the volunteer efforts, it really, really makes me proud. It is absolutely amazing. Okay, organizing a community-based section. Diane, would you speak on that, please?
Yes, thank you, Lois.
Mm-hmm.
Organizing a community-based section, we got a message from someone in Minnesota asking about organizing one there. So this is a perfect opportunity to answer that. Yes, you can organize a community-based section anywhere in the country, and we suggest that you do that, and we're here to help you. A lot of you may know Mr. Glenn, who is the staff member for membership. He answers a lot of questions and does a lot of the work of making sure that you get the paperwork, the forms to fill out, you know how to do that. And we work along with you. A lot has been done. Lois and I have pretty much split up the country, and we have different states where we work. We can work, either one of us can work with any, but we kind of target what states that we want to focus on, and we work hand in hand to make sure that you have the information. And Sharah, for the collegiate sections, that we hold your hand. We just walk you through all that you need to make sure that you're following everything we need as far as the national board charters section. So we prepare you so that when we have our national board meeting, we present the new section and request that the board approve chartering. So a new section has to be approved by the board, and it will be part of the 501c3. We're nonprofit and nonpartisan, and we just walk you through everything, all of the paperwork, all of the information. And as Lois said, our members are our bloodline. We would not be here 85 years if it wasn't for our members who are passionate about what we do, about leading and advocating, and we're really involved in social justice. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that you're welcome to come. A lot of times people ask, well, do I have to be part of an affiliate group, or do I have to be a part of a sorority, or do I have to have a college degree? And I always tell them, no, we come with what you have, with your passion for service. We welcome everyone, and we encourage you to join, men, women of all your gender, race, ethnicity. So we have open, welcoming arms, as Dr. Height would say, and we encourage you to form community sections in cities and states where we still don't have any. We have grown quite a bit over the last few years, and just in September 10th, we actually got charter approval for some very large sections. We're not just about numbers, we're about the work that we do in the cities, in the states, but we're always excited when we get a large section, because it shows that Ncnw is growing. Everyone knows what we're doing, and they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of the sisterhood. I mean, where else can you find 30 plus affiliate women's groups working together, and you get to work with so many other groups that you ordinarily might not be able to. And then you also get to be a part of something that is involved in social justice, the STEAM program, and all of that. So I just want to mention a couple. Northwest Georgia just chartered with 183 new members. Delaware Valley section, right outside of Philadelphia area, 153. The Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, over 50 members. The Charles County section in Maryland, they're just joining. I believe they have over 70. Albany State University in Georgia, South Georgia, the Broward County Youth section. So I think what I'm trying to point out here, we have new members on all categories that just were chartered. We have youth, collegiate, and community-based. So NCNW is growing, and we're proud of that. And we always want to include all, young, old, everybody, intergenerational, to come and join.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Very well stated. Sharah, you have been working for 4 years now with the collegiate sections. So we would like to hear from you. How do we go about chartering a collegiate section?
Thank you, Dr. Keith. I had the benefit before getting into this national role working with the past national third VPs prior to me. And one thing that we learned was that collegiates have a unique way of being able to recruit members throughout the year because of their school schedules and how they rotate and graduate off their boards. Collegiates can recruit every semester or quarter system on their campuses. Collegiate sections are their own entity. However, we do encourage that they partner with their local community section to be further engaged in their community and hopefully transition into a community section. The initial part of chartering or starting an organization on campus, they must be recognized by the college or campus that they're on. So if that campus has certain stipulations that even that NCNW does not have, they still have to abide by those university and college rules and regulations. They must have at least 5 members on the organizing committee to organize from the national headquarters. Once they're approved by the National Membership Committee and National Board, the collegiate section may then go on to recruit, meet, and establish a collegiate section on their campus. They must have a minimum of 20 members on campus. That collegiate section then has all the rights and privileges of recruiting and engaging membership on their campus. And many of the collegiate sections have been very creative in how they do that. Some have started installation ceremonies on campus. Some have started partnering with male organizations on campus for human sex trafficking, beauty and confidence organizations, things that really pertain to young adults and collegiates on their campus. So they use that platform on their campuses to collaborate with affiliate organizations and with their local community sections if they have one there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sharah. Now, one thing I do want to add to this, and I know you can probably elaborate on this more, is about the pledging aspect of it. Or would you speak briefly on that, please?
So Dr. Keith brings up a valid point. Even prior to getting in this role, one thing that was happening was that a lot of the collegiate sections on campus were using NCNW as a way to invite or choose members on campus. And so there's been a lot of times where I've had to step in and talk to the advisors to prevent that from happening. Because one thing I pushed with the collegiates for a long time is that NCNW is open to everyone. You can't have interviews, you can't have lines, you can't do anything of that nature. And so when I'm aware of those things, which I have been for the last over 4 years actually, where sections are trying to do that, I have to step in and let them know that NCNW is not an organization where you select members. Everyone's welcome to join, and we want to encourage that. But if the advisors are not aware of that, then that also creates a barrier. So my role was to also go in and connect and build a relationship with the on-campus advisors to get them to understand the importance of what NCNW is about. So that's something that for years we've been trying to really target with the collegiate section, to let them know that this is an organization of organizations. You join when you pay your money and you commit your time and efforts to it. But this is not an organization where you can have lines and selection processes. So thank you, Dr. Keith, for bringing up that point.
All right, thank you, thank you. Next slide, please. Sharah has already done an outstanding job talking about the collegiate sections and how they are chartered and what have you, and so has Diane. The community-based and collegiate sections will be chartered as sections of NCNW through the national headquarters. In other words, we can't just go out and say, I'm going to start an NCNW. It doesn't work that way. There are procedures, there are steps that we go through to become a chartered member of NCNW. There are forms and checkoffs and making certain you have X number of members, and it has to be approved at our board meetings. It's presented to our board for approval before you can become a member, a viable section in the National Council of Negro Women. And of course, you can't just go out and say, okay, well, we are chartered now, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going, oh no, we don't want this part of this. We're going to just make our own rules. No, 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 no. You must abide and be governed by the National Council of Negro Women bylaws. And also the section handbook, as Diane alluded to earlier. So make certain that that you look at that. And of course, when we have our chartering ceremonies, we can make it as elaborate as we want it to be. And we have gone to some very, very, very elaborate installation ceremonies. You know what? After all, we are the National Council of Negro Women. And looking at Dr. Mira McLeod Bethune, looking at Dr. Dorothy Irene Hyde, and the other presidents, Ms. Ingrid Saunders Jones, Dr. Barbara Shaw, and of course, Dr. Janetta Cole. When we do something, we have to do it, we like to do it right. Now, is it mandatory that you have an installation program? Is it mandatory for you to do that? Well, not necessarily so, but it is in good taste. It is in very good taste that we choose to do that. Anything else, my co-chairs?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. All right.
Keith,
Slide,
Dr. Keith,
yes.
I just want to add one thing too with the collegiate sections when it comes to engaging in recruiting members on campus. One thing that the collegiate girls love to do, collegiate sisters, young ladies, they like to do events where they're recognizing their members on campus. Some campuses have ceremonies. I know there's a section in Florida that does the purple scarf ceremony. Some do pinning ceremonies, but it's just another way of engaging and recruiting members on campus to let them know NCNW is alive and well and active on their college campuses.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharah. All right, next slide, please. Okay, once we get all of these sections and everything up and going, we have to support our headquarters. I mean, it's very, very, very important. If you're going to be part of the whole, if you want to be a slice of the orange, we have to support the whole. So our community-based sections are divided into urban and suburban areas. And of course, we must maintain our 35 members in order to keep our NCNW charter. And when we think about that, in most areas, that's not that difficult to do because there are so many ways that we can get that. We go to church, we sing in choirs, we in the grocery store. I mean, we work, we have spouses, we have children, we have grandchildren, and all of that. So we can encourage them to pay the $50 annual fee for a community-based section. And of course, this is renewed annually, beginning at our fiscal year, October the 1st, for a person to remain in good standing with the National Council of Negro Women. And that's very, very important. Our little $50. No other organization that I'm a member of requires a $50 fee to maintain membership in the organization. So let's by all means recruit, even during the pandemic. It's imperative that we recruit and get as many members to join our organization so that we can maintain that 35 members in order to keep our charter. Anything else, young ladies? Anything else? Okay.
No, I think that in the rural areas, as noted on the screen, it's 30 members, so it's a little lower for the rural areas. But we're probably, like you said, Lois, the lowest membership dues around. So
Yes.
it's something we encourage members to join and be a part of us, be a part of what we're about in the community.
Okay. And then, of course, we have a fair share. And we get a lot of complaints about this. You know, we don't have the $350 or we don't have the $750. But it's a dues that is assessed by the national office, and it's based on our membership, or it's based on our ability in our communities to raise the monies for national. And of course, this help offset some of the things that NCNW is involved with. Right now, with our budget on NCNW and membership, we are not where we need to be. So if we have not paid our $350, which is basically what is charged a rural area, or $750. Now, not all rural areas are charged at $350, and I'm going to say this, and I was in one area of the country, and I'm not going to say what, but they consider themselves rural. But everybody that rode up in Mercedes and St. John suits. But they called me and wanted to know why were they paying so much, and they were rural. And I had to, in a funny way, you know, say, now wait, I saw all those St. John's and I saw all of those Mercedes. And of course, I did it in such a way until they died laughing at what I was saying. And probably that area is one of the, when they put on something, it's class, and their 10% of what they have made is probably more than most of us do. But they were complaining about that assessment. But trust me, after we had a big laugh about those St. John's and Mercedes, I haven't heard another problem about paying. I think it may have been $500 assessment. So they're okay with it now. And as we've already talked about the rural areas, and which would be, you can maintain your charter if you maintain 30 members. All right, next chart, please. Okay, we've talked about the collegiates, and in fact, I'm going to let Sharah talk about the collegiate sections, and in fact, all of this.
Thank you, Dr. Key. Like I said before, collegiate-based sections are their own entity. They serve to encourage and nurture young women between the ages of 18 to 25 years old to take part in NCNW on campus. Again, like I said earlier, they have to maintain at least 20 members to be recognized as an official student activity by the college or university to maintain an NCNW charter. Their membership fee is $10, and many of the collegiate sections double that so that they can retain some money within their sections, because they are limited on their fundraising. With some of the college campuses, they're limited on how much they can fundraise per semester. So a lot of the times, collegiate sections are finding innovative ways on how to initiate fundraising in their sections without going against the rules and regulations on their college campuses. And a lot of people don't know that, but they have to be very careful on how they go about fundraising for their sections to do initiatives on campus. So many of them do partner with other organizations. Youth sections are unique because they are focused on our high school and middle school young ladies. And they have to be organized through an existing NCNW section. And with that said, the NCNW community section serves as their mentors and advisors. So you'll see a lot of community sections that will have a youth section where they kind of guide and direct a lot of the programming for those sections. They operate under the supervision of a recognized community-based section in good standing, and consists of and maintain at least 10 members to maintain its charter. The membership fee for youth members is $5 per year, which is not a lot. So just think about that. If you have children like I do, they can become members in a section, a youth section. Ms. Key, did you want to talk about the Life Member Guild? You're more experienced with that part.
I tell you what, I know you have something else that you want to talk about with the, you want to take this opportunity now to just kind of do a little spiel on that?
Yes, ma'am. So just go into my part.
You can, that would be fine.
Okay. I did want to share some tips and some guidelines on some things that I've learned, not only in the national role, but even as a state president, as far as engaging members that are young adults, because a lot of our young adults under 25 are not necessarily in a collegiate section. So one thing I've learned these last few years is that, like, if you've been in the morning preliminary session this morning, me and Ari, Anna talked about relationships and building those relationships with young adults and collegiates. And a lot of it has to do with our part in supporting them in their particular sections. A lot of the sections do complain a lot about, they feel like they, in order to maintain their love for NCNW beyond college, they don't always feel included in actually doing an effective leadership role in a community-based section. So one thing that we have learned is that on our end as community section members, it is important for us to engage and maintain young adult and collegiate relationships. Some things that I've learned is that on the state level, we made a very conscious effort to appoint a collegiate and young adult in a leadership role. And in that role, we support them and we guide them and we allow them to be leaders in their own positions so that they can understand how they would function in a community-based section. It's very important. When I went to Pennsylvania's first state training last year, one thing that we were able to do, and I thought it was very, very successful, and Diane was there with me, is that we gave the collegiates an opportunity to talk to the community sections and tell them what their desires were in order to want to become a part of a community section after they graduated. And we had open dialogue with the community section and the collegiate sections, both voicing ways that they could support one another. And the collegiate sections were very honest. You know, if we engage them while they're young and they're also involved in the collegiate section, then they're more apt to want to be a part of a community-based section. But one thing we have to be very careful of, and I know with me, myself, I'm a mom, so it's hard for me not to kind of want to just intertwine myself, but we have to be able to meet the collegiate and young ladies where they are and not force ourselves to direct them or mentor them. A lot of times the mentorship and that relationship has to be steered by them in their comfort zone. So another tip that we did on the state level these past 5 years, we have a state NCNW day at the Capitol. So we had a collegiate young lady that co-chaired that event with a community-based member. And from that experience, she has went on to, now that she's graduated, she's looking to start a section in her community now, because where she's at, there's not one locally where she's at now. And so she tells me all the time how that experience helped her become more engaged with continuing on her membership in the community section. This provided her opportunity to network with sisters that have been already in her field for a long time, to build partnerships, to seek mentors from a community-based section, and not just be there for pictures or just to be a hostess. A lot of times the collegiates and young adults, they want an active role in the community sections. They want to be feeling like they're respected for their opinions and their gifts and talents. And that makes them more engaged to want to be a part of a community section. We have to always remember that they are our future of NCNW. So I always tell people when they ask me, it's important for us to show them ways of being leaders in different ways by their gifts and talents, to utilize their gifts and talents and not kind of tell them what they need to do, but be open to what they have to offer us. Because even though they can learn from us, we can learn a lot from them. And one thing about being in this role, I have really grown passionate about the young adults and women in NCNW because they have so much to offer, but we have to give them that opportunity. For me personally, when I started the Bylaws section at almost 30 years old at the time, it took people like Dr. Lois Keith to open up opportunities for me. And I had to really show that I was willing and able to commit that time too. So it's not just the community section engaging membership. The young adults have to also do that and show that they're serious about continuing the work of NCNW. again, they are their own entity, but that does not mean we cannot be involved and support them either. One thing at the Pennsylvania state training, even in our Georgia training that we've had, is that we allow them to help with the planning and implementation of programs, even while they're in their collegiate sections. Recently, my own section, we started a collaboration with our collegiate sisters by co-hosting a human sex trafficking event earlier this year. And the collegiate sisters, they help with the planning, they help with the strategizing, they help make calls, they help with donation letters. They served in active roles. And now 3 of the 5 that just graduated, 2 of them went on to an Atlanta section because I'm 3 hours south from Atlanta, and the ones that are still here have joined our community section. So again, that goes back to that engagement and that relationship building to continue with the membership transitioning for collegiate sections. We made it a point in Georgia and in Pennsylvania as well to not always meet with the collegiates based on Ncnw business. We try to build relationships with them outside of Ncnw. So right now, I have a group meet going on with the section presidents of the collegiate sections, and we're always tossing ideas, talking about things. They ask me about how can they get internships or recommendation letters, and so I serve as that soundboard for them. And what we have to do is take that time to go the extra mile to engage them and show them that, you know, even though I'm in a community section, I'm here to support you. If you have an event, I'm going to go because to support you, not necessarily to take over it, but just to be there as a support. And if you need my resources or my support, I'm going to be able to help you with that. A lot of times the collegiate sisters do want to, you know, try to figure out how to regain and maintain membership. So we use that as a platform on how we help them and support them on our experiences or what worked for us, what didn't work for us. When I was the president of my community section a few years ago, I served as their off-campus collegiate liaison, and that really worked well too, because I was able to connect with the collegiate sections and have them more a part of what our community sections were doing. And a lot of those the collegiate section members were not even from this area. So we did things, we went bowling nights, sisterhood nights. We did different things to engage them, to show them that we had support for them outside of Ncnw. And that's worked out very well for us to connect with our sisters in collegiate sections. On the state level, we appointed a collegiate liaison who is a recent graduate of a collegiate section, and now she's in a community section. And with her and all the collegiate section presidents, they are now planning our first virtual state HBCU and college tour. So that's something that's giving them an opportunity to be engaged and involved, and not really being told what to do, but kind of being shown and guided on how to implement a program or activity from the beginning to the end. And so engaging that connection after and beyond graduation really connects with the collegiates and young adults to maintain membership. Another thing, and this is kind of difficult sometimes for us community section members because we're so busy with lives and careers, but one thing that is very important is that I make sure that those collegiate sisters always have access to me, whether it's texting me, calling me, emailing me, anything like that. And that has served very well. Me and Sharon from Pennsylvania have both, worked tag team on ideas on how can we connect with our collegiate sisters. And one thing that has worked very well is really meeting them where they are. A lot of times the sisters will text me about an idea or a question, and I just serve as that soundboard for them to support them and guide them. And if I don't know the answer, then I connect them with someone that may have that answer. And that's just something that really helps them know that they have someone that really wants to support them. Even as far as the National Convention, when asked to lead the TikTok activity that you guys will see later this evening, it takes the collegiate sisters a little moment to kind of warm up to us, I will admit. But once they know that they can trust you and that you really care about their concerns, then they're more apt to communicate with you and build that that double relationship, building that relationship on their end and receiving our what we can do for them. And so our collegiate sisters went above and beyond what they were asked to do. They went ahead, they were given the task, and then they went ahead, and next thing I know, I was sent the video. It was like, Ms. Sharah, we got sisters from all over the states on this TikTok video from different states, different universities, and they all somehow met together and worked together to do that. And it was engaging to them. It made them want to come to the national convention. It made them want to figure out a way to participate. And now some of them are even connecting and asking, well, what can we do on a community section level? How can we connect with a community section in our particular area? Another thing too is a lot of times we will play a role with collegiate sections when we have that relationship as someone that kind of fuses out fires sometimes. So there's times where I've had collegiate sisters that have had internal issues, and instead of exposing that, I just try to help them navigate how to solve those issues in a sisterly and supportive way, but not get too involved into whatever that internal issue is. And that has really served well too, because they know that, okay, if we can't resolve an issue, we have someone that can help guide us through that. And so just having that support really engages them into wanting to be a part of an organization that shows them that they care and that they're supporting of that. Another thing that has been really awesome too, another thing that I do suggest with you all that have collegiate sisters in near your community sections is that once you build that relationship with those collegiate sisters, a lot of times they will reach out to you, and if they move, like in my area, we're a transient community. So a lot of our collegiate sisters go on back to the Atlanta area or to Florida. And so we want to make it a point to connect them with that community-based section so they have a sister there to support them when they move. So if they want to join a section in Atlanta, I can reach out to the section president of that section and say, you know, I have a sister that just graduated. How can she be a part of your section? And then I connect them, we connect them to build that relationship with that community-based section. And I will say that has also helped really well too, because most of our section collegiate girls from this area have went on to sections around Georgia, and they've even served in roles as third VP or over a committee. And they tell me all the time, Ms. Sharah, we love being a part of this section. We love the sisters. They've embraced us because that connection has been made. We also have a national group me where all the collegiates or most of the collegiate sections throughout the different states are a part of, and that's been going on for a few years now prior to me being in this role. But one thing I love about that group me is that the sisters in that group me, they help each other out. They connect on, well, I'm in this area, let's meet up. Let's start a section. Let's join this section together. And it really builds that foundation of sisterhood and bonding to where they know, even if they're not in the same area, that they can meet up and still have that sisterhood connection. Another thing too, and it came up this morning, but when we're dealing with connecting with our collegiate sisters and our young adult sisters, we have to kind of meet them where they are and understand that they have a lot of talents and they also have different viewpoints than many of us. Even though I'm so-called a millennial, a lot of the members are in the second part of the millennial phase. So there's things to me that I might not see a certain way, but they will. And they get very creative with what they do to engage members. They get very creative in how they incorporate Ncnw into their activities on campus. And a lot of it's because they feel that support and they feel that encouragement to do it. So we have to be open to their differences and open to knowing that they're not like how it was when we were younger. Sometimes the ideas that they have are really out the box. And then I have to remember, okay, this is something that will work for them. How can I support them? How can I engage them into doing an activity or an initiative or growing their section in a way that maybe I don't understand or relate to? So just being open to how different they are and welcoming that and embracing that. One thing that I love to tell them is that we have to do the 3 E's: engage their interest, empower their leadership potential and abilities, and embrace their viewpoints. If they feel like we are embracing, empowering, and engaging them, then they're going to be more apt to want to join a community section and serving. But we have to really have that respect for them and know that they're not children. They're young adults. They're finding their way. They're building their careers. And it's important for them to feel that support from us as their community section sisters, that we're here to support them, but not necessarily take over their sections, but to help them grow as a unit. Another thing that we have seen work really well is, like I said earlier, appointing them in positions where they can serve in leadership roles. we also, as a state of Georgia, and now Pennsylvania does it too, we do a leadership training every 2 years for incoming section leaders. And that's not just for community sections, that's for collegiate section leaders as well. And someone just asked me for the 3 E's: engage their interest, empower their leadership potential and abilities, and embrace their viewpoints. I hope I answered that question. I just saw it pop up, sorry. And so for the Height Leadership Training, we also provide them an opportunity to serve and to host as a section the training. So they help us with the planning, they help us with the implementation of things. They even let us do it on campus. Unfortunately, this year we had to do it virtually, which it still worked out. But the first year we implemented that state training, we did it on Fort Valley's campus, Fort Valley State University. And they were a newly chartered section. They were eager to go to work. And so it really brought people from North and South Georgia in the middle so that we could all network and participate in this training. And it gave them valuable information. It helped them really serve in a higher capacity. And they felt included. They didn't feel like they were being treated as tokens or as children. They felt like they were really a part of a sisterhood, even though they were in a collegiate section. Some things that we've also done that have worked very, very well, like I told you about the virtual Height Leadership Training. And right now they're working on a virtual HBCU and college tour to highlight our HBCUs in Georgia. And what we saw from the planning of that is that we want to expand that to beyond HBCUs in Georgia, but we want to highlight every collegiate section in our state because all of them are not HBCUs. And so the collegiates and young adults are solely responsible for that particular initiative. And 2 of the sisters that just graduated, one just joined the Savannah community section and one just joined the Valdosta section recently from that experience they had prior to serving on the state level and planning an event or activity. We also make sure that we include and have inclusion of them in all state newsletters, activities, and initiatives. We keep up with their social media. A lot of our sections in Georgia and in Pennsylvania, they've been doing things virtually throughout this COVID-19, self-care, natural hair forums. They've even done things, a virtual book club, a virtual paint and sip. So it's different ways that they engage their members, even during COVID, to recruit and retain members in their sections. We really try to provide a true collaboration between the community and collegiate sections. And respect that they still are their own entity, but we do want, like I said before, I can't say it enough, is letting them know that we're not here to overtake their section, but we're here to support them. We're here to be a resource for them if they need us, but we also want to embrace their differences. And yes, I can repeat the 3 E's at the end. Again, the collegiate service initiatives they've been doing during this pandemic, even before the pandemic, have been very engaging. They do virtual self-care, a purple table talk. If any of you have seen the red table talk on Facebook with Jada Pinkett Smith, some of our collegiates have taken that and ran with it. They collaborate with mail events to talk about human trafficking, HIV awareness I've seen all over social media. And a lot of times what community sections will do is reach out to those collegiate sections and say, how can we collaborate with you to do this on a bigger scale in our community? And that works very well too, is if they know that we are interested in what they're doing and we support them. It has been just an amazing experience to see how they grow and evolve within NCNW. I have 4 sisters right now that they've been out of college maybe 3 to 4 years, and they're still active in their community sections, even though they're not in the area that I live in anymore. That experience helped them when they moved to another section to be a part of NCNW and serve in leadership roles. And Ms. Keith, as I wrap up, everybody keeps asking me to repeat the 3 E's again.
It's
so
on
like
the screen.
Okay.
And Lois, if I can mention a couple of things about collegiates real quickly.
Yes.
Okay. All right, just want to mention 2 things. I'm an advocate of third vice presidents. Not every section has one, but I advocate that because I know in the greater Atlanta section, I'm becoming the past president and the founding president of that section, Courtney Sykes, our third vice, I'm gonna give her a shout out. She meets every quarter with the sections, collegiate sections in our area. Spelman, I think Mercer's been to her meetings, Clark Atlanta, West Georgia, and Kennesaw. And she invites them to our meetings, and we go to their events and meetings. They often ask us to come and speak, or just to come and be a part of their events. And we do that quite often. She's been very successful with that. And one young lady, Danielle Dill, she's now a state, in Georgia, she's actually a state officer. She joined the Greater Atlanta section. There was not a section at her college at Kennesaw State. So she joined us and she really liked it. And she said, hey, she came to me and said, I'd like to start one at Kennesaw State. So we were like, yeah, we'll support you. And we took her through the process with Mr. Glenn, and we went national with Lois, and we established the section at Kennesaw State. She moved away, she graduated, and I hated she didn't become president because she moved, because before the end of the year, I believe, and Sharah could correct me if I'm wrong, I think you stay in office one year on the collegiate level. And so she ended up moving to California, Northern Cal, and then she moved back to Savannah. So now she's a member there, and we're just glad and pleased that we were able to let her get her feet wet with us, and then to start a section on her own at her college. And then one last thing is, a young lady from Valdosta State, when we had our first Georgia state meeting, I offered an internship for someone to work with me. I'm a sports reporter as well, and I cover the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons, and they had to write an essay. So she wrote the best essay, and she joined me. She drove up from Valdosta. We went to the game. She met Arthur Blank, the owner of the team. She met the senior vice president of marketing, and she talked to her a long time. She got to ask some questions in the interview with some of the players. And the best thing was that one of the Falcon players was actually from her hometown and from her school, Valdosta State. She got to interview him. They even sang their fight song together. And it was just an amazing thing. But the other thing is, she continues to, she's in Florida now. She asked me to write her recommendations for college, and I did for graduate school after she graduated from Valdosta. And then I got a note from her last couple of weeks ago. She said, hey, I'm graduating in December. I can't believe it's been 4 years. And she said, would you write recommendations for some jobs for me? And I said, of course. So I think that's important, that we mentor, we keep connected with them. And Danielle and Courtney and Brittany are some young women I'm very proud of, and we have to keep connected, like you said, engage, empower, Sharah, and keep working with our young people, not just collegiate, but young people after they graduate in their early 20s, continue to work with them.
Okay. All right, thank you, both of you young ladies. You did a very great job in talking about our collegiate and our future. They are the wings of Ncnw. And I think one of the question was, if there's not a college and the child, the young lady is a collegiate, can she join at $10? And I think the answer there is still yes, right? Am I correct with that?
You mean join a community section?
A community section for $10 if she's a college student. I know in DeKalb, we only charge our collegiate the $10, and I think we kind of waiver the local dues. And our main thing is to try to make certain that and I think I'm correct with that. My president is probably listening, telling me I'm saying something wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it is $10. That and even if you are not in a, for an example, if you live somewhere and you don't have a college there and you want to become a member of Ncnw, that dues is $10.
And I think we sponsored a couple of young people who came, who we actually paid, some of our members paid for their dues.
Right.
And Ms. Keith, I was going to add, that's what Valdosta has done for many years too, is that the first year we'll let them pay that $10 if they can. But the first, if they can't, we cover the cost, or the second year we'll help them with their dues also. Right.
I had the opportunity many years ago to invest in a young person I paid her she was in high school, and I paid her dues. That was the best investment that I have made. I am so proud of her. She went ahead and graduated from University of Georgia, living in Miami, doing so well there, married, beautiful child and everything, just a stellar young lady. And so we can invest that little bitty money into a young person, and it will go a long ways. So that we won't be too far off track, our life member guilds, that is open to all financial life members and financial legacy life members. I'm a charter member of the KF Paysetters Life Guild, and what we do, we invite those life members and legacy life members to become a part of the guild, and we raise monies, and the monies we raise are monies that will go to Washington. And someone asked earlier about the benefits of being a life member and or a legacy life member. Well, for me, my benefit, in fact, I'm a legacy life member, and I'm also a member of the President's Circle. I'm committed to the programs of Ncnw, and I want to support the programs of Ncnw. And for me, that is the greatest reward in becoming a life member or a legacy life member, that I can give back. If I can give to something that can help a young child, or to help with some of the programs that Ncnw is involved. I want Ncnw to be on Pennsylvania Avenue and remain on Pennsylvania Avenue doing the work that it's doing forever, forever. So my $1,000, in my opinion, was the biggest investment in becoming a member of a legacy life member. I was a life member first, and I became a legacy life, and I tried to do my best in supporting the programs of Ncnw. And I hope I answered your question there. All right, next slide, please. Okay, we do have males that are part of the National Council of Negro Women, and their membership dues is the same as for the females. The only thing, and we invite the men to become part of our sections. We need them because they can help raise monies, they can move, well, no, I'm just kidding about that. But we need men to become part. They can mentor, help mentor our young children and what have you. Yeah. And of course, if they want to become a direct member, they can join on and become a direct member, a supporter of the National Council of Negro Women, by paying the $50. And any questions about that? Okay, and then of course the section bylaws. I'm hoping that all of the sections have bylaws, and that they are in accordance with our national bylaws. They should not be in conflict with the national bylaws. For an example, we cannot have in our bylaws that we are not going to pay our membership dues. We're not going to pay our fair share. Those kinds of things, they cannot be in conflict with the national bylaws. So let's make certain that we be mindful of our section bylaws. And in addition to that, let's make certain that we are familiar with our bylaws. And then the next section, F, I'm going to go through that briefly. The community-based section officers shall be elected for a term of 2 years and shall not serve more than 2 consecutive years. Now, I do understand that there are sometimes it's just difficult to find someone to take these positions. And then, of course, there are sometimes we take ownership to positions and we don't want to let go. So I would strongly suggest that when we become president, that we look through our audience and we start grooming someone, thinking about how we can how we can get that person prepared to become a next president, or look at someone's skill. We might even want to do a little, do something and find out what people are, what's your strength, what is it that you want to do. And then with our community-based sections, as well as with our collegiate sections. And of course, I don't think we have that problem in the collegiates as much as we have with our community-based section. But remember what the rules are, that we are to serve 2 years, 2 terms of 2 years, meaning a total of 4 years. And like I say, I understand the challenge. I honestly, I know the challenge in getting someone to run. Sometimes we are there, we are supporters, but as far as hitting the, getting on the mainstream, we sometimes have a tendency of not wanting to do that. All right, next screen, please. Next screen, please. All right, the transition to newly elected officers. Now, this is another one that's sometimes difficult, and this is another one that I get a lot of complaints about. I hear a lot of time that elected officers are not willing to help the new officers. We have a tendency to hoard our materials. We don't share information in a timely manner. And this is something that is just not sisterly in the National Council of Negro Women. We want to make the transition from the elected officers as smooth as we possibly can. It is a responsibility. Listen, let me read that again. It is the responsibility. Let me read it again. It is the responsibility of the outgoing officers of a section to provide an opportunity for smooth transition of section leadership and records to the new officer. That is important. And it should, the transition opportunity should go no later than 1 week prior to the installation of the new officers. Please, sisters, do not leave the newly elected officers stranded. They are already in a mode of what have I gotten myself into? And so we're going to do everything we possibly can to make certain that the transition goes as smoothly as possible. In fact, I would even with the installations and what have you, let's make certain that we help in every way that we possibly can. We want to make those transitions. This is sisterly. This is what we do sisterly during the transition. Did I cover that well, or did I miss something?
Ms. Keith, can I add something to that?
Yes.
I'm gonna be very transparent right now. When I started Valdosta in 2010, I had a very difficult time transitioning out of that role after 6 years. But one thing, because when you're a chartering president, Diane knows this too. You put your blood, sweat, and tears in starting that section. You make a lot of sacrifices. You deal with a lot of stuff, and you're setting the foundation for the growth of that section. So one thing that, for me personally, that I did that worked really well in my section, I gave my section president after me a book of everything, about this thick of everything that she needed to know, even stuff I forgot about from the very first few years of being chartered. Because what people have to understand as sisters, even though it's hard for us to get that up, and I'm being transparent, I had a hard time with it because that was my baby for 6 years. Sisterly wise, in order for our sections to grow, it's our responsibilities as the president, outgoing president, to continue that success for our next sister, to carry that, get that baton and grow our section, and let them support them in their next level of their vision for the growth of that section. If we hold on to it too much, we only hurt ourselves and our sections. So that one thing that is, I always drill into, because I have a lot of section presidents that come to me like, oh, there's no transition, information. And that was really why we started the Height Leadership Training, was to provide resources and support for section leaders, because we don't want you to be stifled and stressed out. We want you to be successful. So you have to be able to let it go and support your next incoming president. I tell my president all the time, whatever she asks me to do, I'm gonna support her. And then I also back off, because even though I'm the founding president, it's her baby now. Yeah. So I'm there when she needs me, but I don't want to interject or try to control anything. I want to just be there as a support and a resource. And what worked for me as a president may not work for my new president. So we have to make sure that we don't hold on to that information and give it to them and not feel like we're in control of anything. This is volunteer, this is a sisterhood. So we want our section presidents after us to be successful and carry the legacy of the blood, sweat, and tears we put into it prior to them being in that role. I think Diane can agree with me.
I can, and I'm going through it right now because I was the president of Greater Atlanta. But the good thing that happened with me is that the person that was closest to me, my corresponding secretary, who knew nothing about Ncnw when she first came, is probably the most passionate person about our organization now, Sophia Byrne. She's right here with me now, helping me with this. She's just amazing. But I'm just so proud of her that she, I just invited her as a friend. Come be a part of this organization. And now she is the president. She's going to be installed October the 4th. But I don't have to worry about giving her too much because she has everything I have. As corresponding secretary, we spent nights on the phone, and she's got all the documents that I have. So I'm really proud of that. And I'm ready, actually, after 5 years, I'm ready to turn it over to Sophia Byrne.
Okay, and then one other thing, and then we're going to run on to Reach. And I know we got excited, we got carried away when we were told an hour and 30 minutes, and we thinking, oh my God, for real? But the inactive sections, and this is something that we typically do not do, but when a section becomes inactive or is declared inactive by the national office, the section's charter and all of the records, all of the bank statements and other financial records are to be sent when? Immediately to the National Board of Directors at the National Council of Negro Women. How many sections do we have that are inactive, that are not doing anything? I mean, but we have not received what we needed to receive at the headquarters. So let's make certain we keep that in mind. Of course, we don't want any of those inactive sections. So if you're about to become inactive, get in touch with Diane or myself, and we promise we're going to work with you and see how we can make those sections active again. All right, next slide, please. All right, now this is Diane's baby. And I'm also on this, but she has done such a great job in helping to set the groundwork for the Reach. So Diane, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, and thank you, Lois. Lois was busy with the HBCU tours, and so I agreed to take the lead on the Reach campaign. And the tours were wonderful. If it came to your city, I'm sure you enjoyed it. I first want to distinguish between the Reach committee and the membership committee. There is a national membership committee. A lot of times you see Lois and myself. And now the vice president of youth is a member. So Sharah is a member. Willis Williams out of South Carolina, Columbia. Sarah DeJean from Seattle, Washington. Arian Jamerson from Manhattan, New York. T. Solomon from Tampa Bay, Florida. And Dr. Helena Johnson from Southern Cal. So that's the actual membership committee. Then we have an ad hoc committee, which is the Reach committee. There are about 40 members from across the country. We try to hit every state so that we have representation. We have someone from Denver and someone from New Mexico, Northern Cal, Southern Cal, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Chicago, Kentucky. So we have about 40 members across the country, but that is the actual membership committee are the 6 names I gave you. So the Reach campaign, what is it and what are we trying to do? We are trying to be as successful as the Join campaign that we did, led by Lois Keith a couple of years ago, and they got 6,000 new members to join or to regain back to get some members to come back. So that is our goal as well, 6,000. And initially it was supposed to end at this convention, but because of the COVID pandemic virus, we couldn't continue, excuse me, and end when we wanted it to. So we're going into a new year. So instead of it ending here, it's going to conclude at the affiliate assembly next year. And so the goals of REACH: to enhance engagement within all section levels in the organization. So we want all levels, enhanced engagement from youth to community to collegiate, every level. We want to enhance it. To encourage collegiate members to transition into community-based sections. That's an area that we really want to concentrate on, because a lot of times there's such a difference between the collegiate and the community-based sections. They don't transfer over. One is money, you know, it costs more. One is that on community campuses, they're all together on a campus, whereas where they would have to come and maybe travel out, you know, to a meeting or to an event. So there are a lot of things that we've been engaging that to talk about how can we make it easier for the young people to come from the collegiate level to our community sections. And then we want to create initiatives to encourage increased participation of women. They don't have to be in a college. I think someone mentioned that earlier, asked that question. Just young people in general, young people that may not know about Ncnw or what we're doing and how we're really engaged in social justice right now. So I noticed how more young women are getting interested because we're engaged in social justice out there, and they see the issues that we're involved in and that we speak out on, whether it be the Brianna situation or any of the situations that are going on, making sure we're aware of voter registration, all of that. So we encourage young women to join. So again, we want to recruit or reclaim 6,000 new members. So what is REACH? What is the acronym for REACH? The acronym identifies the pillars of the campaign that are outlined within the goals and we will be using throughout the year. So one is to restore, to bring back. We know there are a lot of sisters out there that—
Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Okay, I'm looking at a different—
I apologize.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my own screen.
Okay, it's ready.
Okay, so what is REACH? What does it stand for? So restore, to bring back. We know there are a lot of members out there who have been members over the years. They may have left, they had children or a job, or they had to move away, or something came up in their life, an illness, that they weren't able to be a part of us. So we're reaching out saying, okay, we're asking all of our sisters and brothers from across the country to reach out. And if you know of someone you haven't seen in a while, reach out to them. Hey, you know, a lot of things are going on for Ncnw. We're out there. We're social justice. We're out there helping women and their children and their families. And we need you. We need you to come back and be part of what we do, service to the communities. So restore, we're asking you to bring back. And E, the empower, to enable, to authorize. So we're trying to empower women. So we want to empower each other and empower the women in our lives and in our communities. So that is one thing that we're reaching out to do, to make sure that we are empowering women and men to be a part of us and to do the things that we need to do in our community. The next is to advocate, to speak out for and support. That's we have the political affair events that we have, like in Georgia, we have the legislative day where all the sections go down. And yes, we are nonprofit. Yes, we are nonpartisan, but we can have a voice for the voiceless. So we are there talking about STEAM, we're talking about voting, we're talking about the census, which ends September 30th. So if you have not, please finish and complete the census. And please register to vote. I think it's October 5th is coming up in our state. That is the deadline to register. But not only to register, but we're asking you also to vote. There are a lot of people who have registered, but they're not actually voting. So we love that you're registering, but please vote. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're advocating for things that impact our community, because not only do we need to be counted like for the census, but there's a lot of money that is tied to that, and representation from our elected officials. It determines how many officials you get. It determines how much money goes to your communities. We were able to get on 5 radio stations with the Urban League. In Georgia, there's a called the Black United, Radio United for the Vote. And on October the 8th and November the 3rd, they're doing it again. So please check in your state. The urban leagues in all states across the country have joined in, and they're a part of it now. And our members, NCNW is a partner with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. And so we're asking you to contribute, be on the radio, talk about what makes sense with the census, and to vote for us. So that's the type of things we're saying: advocate, commit, pledge to the pledge, be here for NCNW to follow our mission, follow our pledge. We're about helping women, supporting families. We're out there in the community, supporting our community. So we have to pledge to do what we said we're about, be about what we said we're about, be out there, be visible, be willing to help, whether it could be something glamorous or it could be something just grungy in the community that needs to be done. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. So we're out there, and we need people to know, okay, somebody's saying census has been extended. So this is something new that I'm learning, because it was September 30th. So that's good news. That's good news, because we've been fighting for that. A lot of groups actually sued the census so that we could have an extension on that. It was October 31st, and then they pushed it back to September 30th. So that's good news. Thank you for sharing that in the chat. The last thing is to honor. We need to pay homage for people who've come before us, have been here for us. NCNW is 85 years old. We're here. So we need to remember those people that paved the way for this, from Dr. Bethune, Dr. Height, all the women who have done so much for our organization, and not just on the national level, like our national presidents, English Jones and Dr. Cole and all, but also in our communities, in our sections. You have women who have been there 25 years, 30 years, and some just recent, but we need to pay homage to the people that are really keeping us going, keeping our organization going, so we could be here for another 85 years. Okay, here are some of the events that we're doing. A lot of the events, because of COVID, we had to scrap this year. And so we are shifting them to next year, pretty much. We had the Founders Day celebration was ready. We were doing a big thing, but, oh, I'm sorry, we're in 20 now, because we originally started in 19. So in 20, we're gonna have the Founders Day celebration where you can, hold on, let me pull that up. So you can do different things in your community for Founders Day, whether it be hold a meeting where you have a guest speaker, where you just recognize the day, do social media. And what we encourage in everything we do, all these events, acknowledge your new members. So get on social media and say, so-and-so is Mary Brown has become a member of your section. Put a picture up of that person, and maybe.
Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Continue, Diane.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm looking at a different computer. So I didn't realize it wasn't up there.
No problem. No problem at all.
But so, do those things. But every event that we ask you to do, we're asking you to take photographs, and because everything is so virtual right now, put it up on social media, and make those new members proud to be members of NCNW. And a lot of times when we do that, we notice other women see it and they say, oh, NCNW, I want to be a member of that. It does draw attention. So make sure that you not only hold these events, but virtually, but share them on your pages. I've been on a lot of the social media pages, especially with the collegiates have a lot. and our community sections, you have Instagram, Twitter, and you have Facebook pages. So share what we are doing and what we're about. So that is coming up. The Black History Month program that we talked about, we wanted to, last year we were gonna take it to the Capitol, the legislators, invite legislators, and we were gonna do a national, but of course, because of COVID, we weren't able to do that. And so we're asking you to do things for that, for Black History Month, do programs that you can highlight from the community. And that's a great time for Black History Month to highlight some people in your community. Like we have Dr. Bernice King from the King Center as a member of Greater Atlanta. So we might highlight her. What is she doing? What's the King Center doing? And you have people in your community that are doing a lot of things that are out there, and just highlight some of them and some members of your section during that time. So that's what we're saying for Black History Month in February. Then we're looking at Women's History Month. And on Women's History Month, we want to recognize the national presidents of Ncnw and their contributions. So we would look back at all the presidents, beginning back to Dr. Bethune and all the way up to Dr. Cole. And that would be a great month, Women's History Month, to recognize our national presidents and your local presidents of your sections. So we're looking at that. And then the next would be Dr. Height's birthday in March. You could host a tea, and you know Dr. Height loved her hats. So wear your hats and show it off. I attended a tea that Seattle section did online. It was fabulous. Everybody had their hats and their gloves on. And we actually had little teacups. And one thing they did was a scavenger hunt for Bethune, Dr. Bethune. And they asked questions about, you know, Dr. Bethune. You had to find something in your house that pertained to Dr. Bethune. And that was a lot of fun. So think of things like that you could do virtually. Wear your hat, wear your gloves, get your teacup, do a scavenger hunt about, you know, Dr. Height, find things in your home that pertain to Dr. Height. Donate books to a local school. You can drop off. You don't have to worry about going. Visit a nursing home if you can get out in March, if we're able to get out in the community. Go visit a nursing home or volunteer to a soup kitchen, or, you know, go find an issue that's going on at the time in social justice and join in and try to help there. The last one was Dr. Bethune's birthday. We were trying to do something where we would pilgrimage and go actually to South Carolina when she was born, and where they have a place there. And that we were trying to figure out how to do that. And we, of course, this year, because of COVID, we couldn't do it. So next year we're saying, you know, if we can, something like that, or meet in a park and have a nice outdoor activity. Some people say she liked the color of yellow, so wear yellow. That's bright and sunny in the summertime. You could donate ice cream to a summer program, host a Bethune stamp event. Dr. Bethune stamp, maybe it's some may still be available, and you can get some stamps and do an event to honor that she does have a stamp, as well as Dr. Height, or volunteer at a women's center, women's shelter. There's a lot of homelessness going on now, and people need us. They need us to assist with that. So that is several things that we're suggesting that you can do. Okay, TV, are we next screen? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Okay, so the next thing briefly, TV and radio. As a PR and marketing person, I know the importance of that, because you can have fabulous events, fabulous things going on, but if nobody knows about it but you, then it really doesn't help you get the word out to the community what you're doing. So I'm big on billboards. There are a lot of billboard companies that give out free billboard times, and now you don't have to do the old way where you would have to get this big thing to put up there, the vinyl and all of that. The electronic ones are great now because they can change, and you can put several things back to back to back, and it moves. And so someone sitting in traffic might sit there and watch it, and you really get your information across to a lot of people, especially if you're in a city where you have a lot of traffic like DC, in Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, so California. So, you know, those work very well, the billboards. With TV and radio, in Greater Atlanta, I made sure I recruited all the local TV and radio people to join. So a lot of them are members. One is the director of public affairs for the #1 radio station. One is the public affairs director for the #1 TV station, but they not only help being your host of your events, they'll be, if you want to do, especially online, if you want to do something online, do a virtual, get them to host it. And a lot of times they'll tie it in with their station. They'll tie it in with their radio station, their TV station, if they're hosting it. And sometimes they will broadcast it for you, which reaches a large audience. I remember when I was installed the last 2 years as president of my section, the radio public affairs director, she was there and she was taping it, and I didn't know. And next thing I know, I had like 7,000 people said, "Oh, we saw it on V103," and I didn't know it, but she did that. And so I'm trying to share with you that that can happen if you engage your local TV and radio people and print. Right now we have the editor of newspapers. She's been putting in things every week about Ncnw, not just locally, but nationally. So print media is important, social media is important. Rolling Out with Munson Steed, who did the coloring book, they have papers all over the country. So please tap into Rolling Out. They're based in Atlanta, but they're in 25 markets, and they can definitely cover things for you. Don't be afraid to send them, if you're transitioning to new officers, send them a little write-up about it. And a lot of times Rolling Out and papers, our newspapers will cover it. So make sure that we engage with media and on all levels, and send them things. Don't be afraid to share and to send it, and use social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you know, just flood it. It's not too much that you can put up there, because we've gotten a lot of new members that way. We've gotten sponsors that way, and it's more visibility for what we are doing. If you're doing something and you're not sharing it, who knows it but you? Okay. So competition, the state membership recruitment competition. We are in a competition, and I have the stats right here from Mr. Glenn. He's compiling them. So the last board meeting we had, he shared some of the stats with us, and like California, number of new members, 2,400, Georgia, 2,900 in the large sections, 2,200 in Florida, and those are some of your bigger sections. And even on some areas that I didn't know we really had members. West Virginia has a few, Wyoming, we have a couple, and even have a few in Utah. Texas has 1,400. So we're going to have different categories though, so don't worry about that. You're not competing. Smaller sections are not competing with the larger sections. You will be in different categories: small sections, medium sections, and large sections. So we'll give away prizes for each category. So you're not competing, you're competing like and like. And we're asking that you do what you did at the last convention. Decorate, if we're in person next year, decorate your table based on your state. Georgia won last year, so you all have to be Georgia next time. Decorate your table with things that are germane to your state. So just make sure that you be prepared for that. I know we're running out of time, so I would just say the last thing I will say is the number, our latest numbers on sections that we have: 175 community-based sections, 11 life member guilds, 85 collegiate sections, and 33 youth sections. And that is my part. Lois, I think we're running out.
Okay, I apologize for that. We have gone over, and the next section is getting ready to start, but I certainly hope everyone enjoyed the membership presentation, and I certainly hope that everyone is able to see how passionate we are about membership and about the members of the National Council of Negro Women. Thank you again for participating with us, and please enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you so much.